Whiskey 9, 7 November, interrogative Alpha Bravo. Negative Alpha Bravo. And this is 7 November Golf. Roger, request you check your Romeo side. I'll go ahead and check my Tango side. 7 November Golf out. 7 November 8 and 8 Cloud, 7 November, say again. 7 November, go. I copied a while ago, 1 Charlie transmission that my thing used, and 8 5, this is 7 November, Charlie. 8 5, right now. Now 1 Charlie, 7 November, go.
This is 1 Charlie, reference to your last, you're Brandon 158, extra 5 o'clock, 1200 between teams, that's local. Also request 3 units take inbound Nexus to see if we can try to get 59 and 8 for pause into the playground.
And this is 7 November, Roger, stand by.
Got that.
Got it? Alright. And all units, this is 7 November Golf, my unit Alpha, Echo, X-ray Alpha Alpha in there.
One Charlie, Alpha Bravo.
Hey, I never took a dip.
Whiskey 9, 7 November, interrogative Alpha Bravo. Whiskey 9, Yankee, 7 November Golf, over. This is Whiskey 9, go. Whiskey 9, 7 November, interrogative Alpha Bravo. Whiskey 9, Yankee, 7 November Golf, over. This is Whiskey 9, go. Whiskey 9, 7 November, interrogative Alpha Bravo. Negative Alpha Bravo. And this is 7 November Golf. Roger, request you check your Romeo side. I'll go ahead and check my Tango side. 7 November Golf out. 7 November 8 5, and 8 Cloud, 7 November, say again. 7 November, go.
All right, welcome to CivDiv live stream. Y'all know the role, the deal here. Ask questions, I'll answer them, preferably VA disability. You can ask me whatever you want, though. I don't care. It's Sunday fun day. We got a few questions in the chat already. Can someone pipe up and let me know my audio is good before we start here? It's probably about a 20-second delay. Once I figure out audio's good, we will start answering questions. Nice. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. All right. TVK. I'm active duty BDD and have a few ortho conditions recently diagnosed. Okay. Are 1 or 2 visits enough to establish chronicity? Concerned, they say the issues are acute versus chronic at the CMP or rater. First off, BDD claim process, everything you hear on YouTube about everyone blowing up and saying this and saying that about service connection, that does not apply to you. Anyone going through a BDD claim, none of that applies. To answer your question, what I see here is you have the in-service event of 2 visits of 1 or 2 about whatever orthopedic conditions you're talking about. I assume you mean joints, like your knees, your wrists, elbows, things like that. So you already have that visit. That's good enough. There is no chronicity. It's not going to be continuous, right? Because you are active duty. Now, if this was 20 years later after service, that comes into play. Now, there's a second part of the question here. It's kind of between the lines where you talk about acute versus chronic. That's not going to be based on how many appointments you have in service. It's going to be based on that condition, right? And so let's say you're talking about your wrist. You go to your primary care for your wrist while active. You have the in-service event. You have the complaint. Ideally, you get x-rays and you get a diagnosis, but we know with the military, the DoD healthcare system is to put you in a position to deploy. If you're getting out, it might be difficult to get an x-ray, right? But at least you have the in-service complaints. It's documented. It's all there. The C&P examiner, right, is going to have to determine the diagnosis. And if your wrist is messed up, and I'm using wrist as an example, they'll take an x-ray, and that would give the chronic diagnosis versus an acute. So that is not based on how many appointments you have. It's based on the severity of the condition itself. So to be honest with you, TVK, it looks like you're in a great spot. I wouldn't sweat that at all. All right, new fat boy. I think your name's hilarious, but I will get to you. All right, we have some donations. Mr. J, 2 of them, 2 super stickers. Mr. J, thank you very much. I definitely appreciate that. My family appreciates that. Let me go down in the chat. Just make sure you didn't say anything. I will definitely answer. And another one. Thank you. Okay. I see one question. Let me just see. That's $21 from Mr. J. Thank you very, very much for that. I appreciate it. Yep. Okay. Okay, Mr. J. I got them all. I'm gonna answer all your questions right now. Okay. Don't donate anything else. Okay. I got it. $3. Thank you, Mr. J. Thank you very much. You're good, brother. You're good. You're good. I'm gonna answer all your questions right now. Okay. Thank you very much, though. I appreciate it. Contacted by QTC for more C&P exams for other conditions I did not get exams for originally. All right. Will I get rated on my conditions with completed exams and deferred on the other conditions with new exams? It's possible. It depends on that timeline. So basically what happens, and I'm going to give a big, what I call broad blue brushstroke. Each claim is individual in itself. Doesn't matter if you submit 30 of them, that's 30 claims. Okay. It's not one claim with 30 disabilities. It's 30 claims. And it goes through the process. When it gets to the rater, that rater has a quota, a time quota that they have to meet. And depending on what they can decide and what they can't decide, that's what's going to either 1, kick a decision, or 2, make deferments, or 3, which is most likely a combination of that. So to answer your question, I can't. It's possible to see deferments in there. I would want to know the date, like the month of your C&P exams you had for the disabilities that you claimed, to at least give you a better guesstimate. Yep, pending approval. If you're pending approval, MJ, you're probably going to get some deferments with that decision. And it seems like you already had these C&P exams for those. Mr. J, you're crazy. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Blowing me away here. I will answer all your questions. You do not have to donate. You don't have to donate at all, but you certainly don't have to do another one. Mr. J, you had some more. Will lay statements and medical records trump a C&P exam by a nurse practitioner? Lay statement? No, not at all. And I know YouTubers talk about how awesome and glorious statements are. That's not the case. They do have their place and they can come in clutch. But as far as overruling or trumping a nurse practitioner or C&P examiner, that's not going to happen. Now, your medical evidence, and I always say this, medical evidence for veterans are their saving grace. It's our saving grace. I, myself, I had a terrible C&P exam for migraines, but I had the medical evidence to back that up. So when I did a higher level review, talked to the rater saying, hey, here's my evidence. I know I have it. It's right there. They can see it, and then they can go ahead and make adjustments on that. So evidence is king, right? I don't care what anyone else tells you. I promise you, evidence is king. It will work. But you have to have the evidence. All right. Sinusitis should be rated 30%, but she checked the box. Yeah, I would absolutely do a higher level review if you have very clear and compelling evidence of that. Rating of that should be higher. But it seems like it's going to be service connected. That's the hard part. The increase is the easy one. All right, MJ, let me just scroll down. I want to make you did donate many times. I want to make sure I got you, brother. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. All right, Mr. J, thank you again. Thank you for your support. Definitely appreciate that. All right, new fat boy. I currently have service-connected tinnitus. I have an appointment with the VA audiologist tomorrow. All right, any tips on what to say to the doctor to get them to document that my tinnitus is causing migraines? Yeah. One, I'm a huge fan of this, okay? When it comes to secondary claims, I'm never going to recommend someone, oh, migraines is common secondary to tinnitus, submit the claim. It's much more than that. What I prefer is exactly what you're talking about, which is having evidence that suggests the secondary connection. So, as an example, if it was me, okay, I'd walk into my audiologist appointment and say, hey, doc, my tinnitus has been getting worse. It's been flaring up. It's been more frequent, it's been more severe. It lasts longer. And I generally get migraines. Sometimes I get a headache that I can deal with Tylenol. Sometimes I get some very serious migraines. And then you express your symptoms, right? And just talking to your healthcare team about that is solid medical evidence. It's not a slam. It's not a slam dunk. I'm going to win that secondary claim, but it is a billion times better when you have evidence that suggests the connection versus just kind of relying on that CMP examiner. So, new fat boy, hopefully that answers your question. Brodas, I love you too. Thank you. Bobby D's, my favorite name on here. Hey, Clay, what's up? I have a diagnosis for gastritis from Active, and I'm currently trying to get one for GERD. Those are the diagnostic codes might not be the same, but that's the same system. Okay, so gastritis, GERD, IBS, that's all going to be rated the same. If I can get a diagnosis for GERD, should I file for one or both? Bobby D's, what I would do is talk to your healthcare team, right? I'm a huge fan of healthcare, whether that's private or VA, whatever you prefer. Talk to that healthcare team. Let them know you were diagnosed with gastritis and Active. Let them know your current symptoms and start that process, right? And if you are diagnosed with gastritis again, or it's updated, or you are diagnosed with GERD, regardless, then you would have the documented symptom of continuity, right? So you have the in-service events. You have either a diagnosis from that appointment or documented symptoms, and then you have the continuity, and we know that those equal service connection. All right. The motivational minister. What's up? Greetings. How's it going? Chris, that's gross. Absolutely. Appreciate you viewing the stream. Just got the letter on Tuesday, 100% P&T. There we go. I hope I helped you in that process. I hope you learned something. Okay. I ask that you pay it forward. Veterans helping other veterans. That's the end of the day, right? Congrats to you. I hope that relieves the financial burden on you and your family. Get some of that stress off. You know what I'm saying? Congrats. Yep, that's great. Awesome. Gus Jimenez. Greetings, Clay. Love you, the man. I love you too. Thank you. I hope others win their claims. Absolutely, Johnny. Right. Been to 3 CMP exams. Wish me luck. I'm wishing you all the luck. Right. Go watch my last video I posted. It's about CMP exams and how to talk to an examiner. And we got the formula, right? The disability, the timeline, the continuity, that's going to equal service connection. You have to reference your evidence. You have to know your evidence. Well, I guess you have to have evidence. You have to know your evidence and then reference your evidence during that exam. Charles A. Hey, Clay, got denied for my diagnosed migraines. Submitted supplemental for migraine secondary to PTSD with Nexus DBQ from a PAC. Think that's enough for favorable decision, or should it be a doc? So physician assistants are solid, right? Probably the most popular one that everyone knows is the Prestige Worldwide, like the stepbrother joke thing. I've seen many letters from them that are successful, and I don't have a partnership with them at all. And that lady is a PAC, or she's a physician assistant at least. So I think, based off of this comment, it looks good, It's not a guarantee. It's not a slam dunk at all. I would really like to see your evidence myself before I give you my opinion. But hey, look, you have the current diagnosis. You're going secondary, and you have a Nexus and a DBQ from the PA, right? Generally speaking, and this is debatable, but if I'm recommending a secondary to PTSD, personally, I would have went to a psychiatrist, right? That's just me. The PA is fine, but food for thought on that claim. Looks good though. All right, RD, thank you. Mike Gogol, yep. Bobby D's, Vince, thank you. Vanessa, welcome back. All right, Tony and Lisa, what's up? Frank William, hello. All right, let's get back to, here we go. 2 donations. Thank you very much for the donations. I definitely appreciate it. Let me scroll down just to make sure I get everything. Miguel, have a question. Had to post a few different times. Thanks for all you do, Semper Fidelis. Okay, I got you. Yeah, let me scroll through the chat for Miguel. I got you. Semper Friday, you too. Right? Happy New Year, everyone. All right, Miguel, I got you. Question. I was recently rated for PTSD and disagreed with the percentage as I thought it was low for my symptoms. Okay. Hence, I filed a supplemental claim and submitted new evidence to support this higher rating. All right. So you have a supplemental in place. You have a disagreement with the rating given. I got rated on supplemental. However, they treated it like an increase and gave me the higher rating, but only effective date. Super common. Due to continuous pursuit within a year decision. Yeah, so what would I have to do? HLR for effective date? Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. HLR informal conference with the effective date. Take a look at that. They will take a look at that. That's very common for the VA to mess up, and I know it's super annoying, are effective dates, especially on supplemental appeals. That sounds like a pretty easy win there, and depending on the back pay and the rating, of course, it would definitely be worth that hassle to submit that higher level review, disagreeing with that the effective date. Yes, Miguel, pretty easy one. Thank you very much. I definitely appreciate it. Will Sholey, I don't see any comments from you. Thank you very much. Love the content. I love you. Thank you very much for the donation. Let me just scroll up and look for old boy Will here, and I think we are good. Hi, Clay. What's up? All right. Thank you very much, everyone. I definitely appreciate that. All right. Young Property Group. Am I allowed to request to see the DBQ on my CMP the same day that is done? You can request it, right? I'm not sure on, it's definitely going to be a personality thing. I don't know about the legalities between CMP examiners showing you the DBQ right then and there. Some are more open. Some are cool. Let's just say that. Some not so much. Just depends. Now you can go to your regional office, set up an appointment with Vera, and get that CMP exam results within about 2-3 days. Those are generally fast. But if the CMP examiner won't let you see it, I wouldn't bet on it. It's very easy to put in that request to see the exam, or just use your VSO. If your VSO or attorney has access to VBMS, they can go ahead and pull up anything related to your claim. Laughing Guy, evening, all sounds good here. Love to listen. All right. Sweet. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Vanessa, have a good Sunday, everyone, and a new start to the week. Absolutely. Sunday fun day. John Warren, must my mental health symptoms and my VA medical record match 38? No. So VA healthcare, everyone knows, not everyone, a lot of people know VA healthcare is over here, VA disability is over here, and VA healthcare does not care about VA disability, right? So they're not making their notes. They're not referring to 38 CFR whenever you go for healthcare. They're very healthcare focused, right? But with that said, those notes, the medications, the treatments that you're on, the complaints you have, all that is annotated, and then those records among your service treatment records or your private health records if you give the VA access. Those are what's looked at when determining that claim. All right, Frank Williams, thank you very much. MJ, again, thank you. And thank you. Definitely appreciate that. Let's go down to Frank. Frank, thank you very much. Let me just make sure you didn't say anything that I missed. I want to make sure that I see that one. Let me just make sure there's one other. Thank you for the donations, everyone. I definitely appreciate that more than anyone ever knows. Okay, Frank. If filing a secondary claim for GERD, is it better to file secondary to PTSD or secondary to the medication? Okay. The answer, it's kind of irrelevant, right? Because you have I'm going to assume you have a current diagnosis for GERD. You have some sort of evidence linking GERD to PTSD. It's very, very common on the anxiety side of the house, okay? That connection is common, fairly common. The medical community certainly knows that. But to answer your question, just do GERD secondary to PTSD, right? The medication will be taken into account. Now, you could do a personal statement. This is a great example of using a statement for a claim, saying, hey, here's the medication I take. Here's when I take it. Here's some, I refill my prescription every 2 months, whatever that looks like for you, to kind of show how much medication you're taking, and then show that this medication is known to cause heartburn, gastritis, whatever the case may be for you. But yeah, Frank, I would just do secondary to PTSD. The VA is going to do VA stuff, right? So they're going to look at GERD direct. They're going to look at GERD secondary. They're going to look at GERD to medication. They're going to look at all forms of service connection, not just the one you submit. Thank you for that. I definitely appreciate it. And then Mr. J, again, thank you, Mr. J. I don't see anything new. Rated 40% for back in 2020. Okay, hold on, MJ. Hold on. Oh, this is MJ. Last time was Mr. J, wasn't it? Is that two different people? No, same person. All right, I got you, MJ. Okay. Back on program here. Will my back be lowered if my range of motion is better, or at least that's what my last CMP exam shows? I have a lot of evidence from the VA showing it's worse, not better. Also have surgery soon. Based on this comment alone, okay, I'm going to say yes. If your CMP exam shows that a condition has gotten better, right, has improved based on range of motion, the answer is yes. The VA can certainly lower that rating for your back. You'll often see that when a veteran has a lower back condition, like a lumbar spine strain. And then they also have sciatica or radiculopathy. If you are rated, let's say you're rated 40% for your back, and then you claim radiculopathy left and right, they are going to reevaluate your back. It's on the same DBQ. And if your range of motion has increased, especially if it's a significant increase, then yes, you could expect that rating to be lowered. I know that sucks, man. I even hate saying that myself, but it's certainly possible for that to happen. I'm not saying it is going to happen. I'm just saying based on this comment and this comment alone, that's what it looks like, brother. That's what it looks like. All right, let's get back up to the chat here. Thank you, Mr. J. Again, appreciate that. Bernie DeMarble, 70 MHIU, not PNT. Okay, want to file for IBS and migraines, but don't want to poke the bear. Okay. This is debatable, right? I'm just letting you know right now. Super debatable. I hate the phrase poking the bear. I get it. Everyone gets it, right? You have a rating. You don't want the VA to mess with it or lower that rating. And so now you are hesitant to submit new claims because the VA can lower that rating, which is true. Oh, that's true, right? But in cases like this, when you're 70% mental health, especially IU, not PNT, and you want to claim IBS and migraines, but you don't want to poke the bear, my advice is, as long as you have solid evidence for IBS and migraines, submit the claim. Now, if that IBS and migraines are secondary, okay, and it appears that your mental health is severe, right? At 70%, that I would deem that severe mental health. Based on this comment alone, you could submit that claim. If you want to email me and we can talk through what your evidence actually looks like, especially your evidence for mental health, so then they could not lower that rating, that's fine. I'll do that. But I'm going to assume your evidence is pretty solid and your mental health has not improved. And if that's the case, submit the claim. All right, dude, we have tons of, I'm blown away right now with the amount of donations, guys. Thank you very much. I'll go through the chat and look at everyone. Mike, thank you, man. Thank you so much. I definitely appreciate that. Ed Garcia, thank you. $20 super sticker. Joseph Rottenberry, thank you very much. And Eli Riddle, thank you. Thank you. Let me go to the chat. Make sure that y'all's questions are answered. Okay. MJ, gotcha. I got you. Give me a second here. I want to make sure that everyone gets their questions answered. I don't see any questions. All right, I don't see any questions, guys. If you do have questions, put them down in the chat. I'll look in about 5 minutes. Okay, want to double check that. All right, let's get back to our scheduled programming. Thank you again so much, everyone. Seriously, I don't know. I always feel weird when that happens because I don't really know what to say, but I definitely appreciate it. All right, Vanessa, we had you. We had Laughing Guy. We had MJ. Here we are. Sadiq 30. Hello, Clayton. What's up? Welcome to the stream. Also, if you want to help me out, if everyone could like the stream, that helps more than you could know, and it just shares the word to other veterans. I like to give veterans that option of not going to VA Claims Academy or not paying for a $300 package deal, or not paying 5 times the increase and just learning the process, submitting your claim. It's not hard. It sucks, okay? But it's not hard. And I try to give them that option. So if you could like the stream, help me spread that word. That's the plan. All right, Sadiq, I submitted a HLR to challenge an incorrect effective date. All right. The DRO agreed and granted the correct effective date, stating that this was a queue. Does this error go back on the rater? Yeah, so they get I don't know. The answer is yes. I don't know what that looks like though. Now I do have a friend who wishes to remain anonymous, obviously. And I will reach out to them and ask specifically on what, if there's any disciplinary actions or negative counseling or a bad mark, something happens. Okay, I can tell you that. I just don't know what it is. But that's definitely a good question, and I would like to know that myself too. In a perspective that I'm not hostile towards raters, right? Like they don't get, they're not over here making millions, and they're the only people actually helping veterans, right? Okay. Ice cold. They lumped my TBI and PTSD together at 50%. How can I separate the two? You can't. Okay. I mean, it is possible to have 2 separate ratings, but there's nothing that you can do to make that happen. And so how that's determined on the DBQ, it's going to talk about, there's a question on there that says, hey, can you differentiate these symptoms? That's why mental health is all one rating, right? Like PTSD, depression, anxiety, all the anxiety disorders, all the depressive disorders, insomnia, all of those are wrapped into one. TBI is off to the side, In most cases, it is roped in with mental health, like your case. But the cases where it's not are the symptoms that fall into TBI, right? So like migraines, loss of memory, motor functional skills, right? Like if I was to drink this water and miss my mouth, that would be a symptom of TBI, okay? I don't have TBI. I can drink out of my bottle just fine. That's just one symptom. So if your symptoms can be differentiated, then yes, right? And if that's the case, what I would do, ice cold, is go to your primary care, talk about your TBI symptoms specifically, whatever those may be for you. TBI looks different on every single person that has TBI. So talk about that, gather that evidence, and then you could absolutely write a statement and do a submittal. Okay, I think we had more donations. I still don't know what to do. I really don't know what to do. Thank you very much, guys. This is insane. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I asked 2 questions. I got you, Mike. I'm going to find your answers. Let me look up Mike's questions. I need a control F in here. You know what? Okay. I put in a claim for allergic rhinitis. Mike, I'm answering your question right now. I put in a claim for allergic rhinitis in August. I then put in 5 more claims in October. They combined all my claims. I've only had 1 CMP exam so far. Any idea why it's taking so long? The idea is a huge backlog from PACT Act. The PACT Act is awesome. Okay. It is. It's great. Even if you are service connected at 0%, and there are a ton of those, the service connection is the hard part. The increase is the easy part. The PACT Act is great. I just want to say that up front. In ways the PACT Act sucks is exactly this case right here, where your claims are taking forever. So Mike, that's my guess. Okay. That's about the best guess I can have. Then you have another question, Mike. How does it work when they combine claims? It depends. So each claim is separate. So if you submit on the same form 30 different disabilities, that is 30 claims, and they are individual claims. Okay. Now, how does the VA combine claims? The VA rates symptoms. They don't rate the diagnosis. And so it'll be under a rating code. And so IBS and GERD, for instance, are going to be rated together because that's the same GI tract. It's a gastro issue. Mental health, that's going to be rated together because they share the same symptoms. Okay. And that's how the VA combines conditions. Okay. Holy baloney. Let's answer these questions as much as we can. Mike, thank you very much. I definitely appreciate that. Ed Garcia, thank you very much for that. I just figured out I can word search on here. Joseph Rottenberry, thank you very much. Eli Riddle, thank you very much. I definitely appreciate that. All right, L. Huey. This will make things a bit faster. L. Huey, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Lori, here we go. Is central sleep apnea harder to connect than obstructive? Not at all. Okay. Obstructive is more common, but it's not more. Service connection is service connection. You have the in-service event, you have the current diagnosis, and then you have the nexus, right? Now, since we're talking about sleep apnea, it's probably secondary, like most sleep apnea claims. It's still the same thing. The in-service event becomes a service-connected disability. The current diagnosis remains the same, and now the nexus is just linking the diagnosis to that disability. It doesn't matter if it's central or obstructive, okay? That has no bearing on the service connection. It's more so correlating factors, right? Like weight gain, medication, breathing in heavy particulates, and then a combination of those, right? Saying, hey, are you obese? No. Okay, that's awesome, right? That's good. You've been exposed to burn pits. You have heavy particulates in your system for a long period of time. You also have PTSD, severe anxiety that puts stress on the body, right? So those are all correlating factors that could lead to sleep apnea being secondary. All right, MPD, thank you very much. I definitely appreciate that. Clay, the RO for Georgia, where I live, is further away than the one for Alabama. Can I drive up to Montgomery and get a copy DBQ? Yeah, absolutely. It's not by state. It is, but for your purposes on the service that you can get, you can. Now, I would just call them, okay? Give them a call just to make sure. Regional offices vary. I can tell you the one in DC is super busy, right? So I just wouldn't just walk in. I would at least call, get an appointment made, and go from there. Save you some time. Save everyone some time. Thanks, Frank. Thank you. I definitely appreciate that. Thank you. Okay. Charles Fisk, man, I am blown away right now. Thank you very much for the super sticker, excuse me, and Spanky Sprangler. Make sure, thanks for what you do. Thank you, guys. If y'all have a question, please let me know. Throw it in the chat. Mike, I got you. My VSO told me since they combine claims, that's why it's taking so long. They're not technically wrong, okay, because they're going to look at the totality of all your claims, and that's when the decision is made, saying, hey, we can decide these, we can defer these, right? That's set on a time quota. Once your claims get in front of a rater, they have a time quota, right? 5 days, whatever that is for you. They'll make the decisions, and then they will defer the ones that need further development. Okay. So they're not wrong. It's just I would have explained it a little bit better to kind of calm some anxieties. All right, Spanky Spangler. I was invited by the VA to file TDIU after a CMP for mental health. That's always a good sign. On sick leave pending retirement since August. Yeah, so in some decision letters, okay, Charles, thank you. I see that. In some decision letters, the VA will start saying, hey, we recommend you submit a VA disability claim for X, right? When you see that happen, it is awesome, right? I don't want to say 100% guaranteed, but it's pretty close to that. It's the VA just saying, hey, man, I think you should do this. You have the evidence. It's pretty clear. Submit the claim, and we can go ahead and process that. That's basically what they're saying in a very formal manner, okay? But yeah, man, that's a very, very, very good sign that your claim is pretty solid. All right. Going back up to the top to look at where we left off. Don't worry, I will answer everyone's questions. Thank you for the donations. I definitely appreciate that. All right, Ferocious 1980. I went for an increased tension headaches from 30% to hopefully 50. Okay, I'm taking injections. Right, you have the treatment plan and you have a log. Awesome. Went to the CMP exam and filled the DBQ out. Only lasted 3 minutes. Didn't ask for evidence. Yeah, so don't sweat the time limit. That was fast. Okay. Don't sweat the time limit because migraine DBQ is very easy, okay? Especially because you have the evidence of treatment and a migraine log. Now, I will say this. If that increase comes back at 30% or lower, that's worst case scenario. And basically, if it's not 50%, if you have the evidence, without a shadow of a doubt, do a higher level review with an informal conference, okay? Know your evidence. Be ready to speak on your evidence when that rater calls you. And for some reason, because the language for migraines is very ambiguous, it drives a lot of uncertainty in raters. So although you may have a favorable CMP exams, raters can still drop that down, right? So do an HLR. It's the most common higher level review that is approved is migraines. And so I can tell you right now, just knowing the history of migraine claims to the VA, if that comes back not at 50, do an HLR with an informal conference. All right, ice cold, they did mine too. TBI, yep, lumped together. Very, very common to see TBI and PTSD lumped together. Trinette Gates, will a Nexus from Dr. Patel hold water without a physical exam from him? So Dr. Rashna Patel is a woman. And it depends what that is, right? So for instance, if you want a DBQ for your lower back, that answer is no, right? That wants to be an in-person exam. If you're talking about an independent medical opinion or a Nexus letter, which is what you're discussing here, yes, right? Absolutely, yes. There are some claims that you do want that in-person exam for, like if you're doing range of motion test. Obviously, that's not going to suffice being on a telehealth appointment, like a live chat. Okay, that's got to be in person. But if you're looking at, oh, you know, this condition is connected to this condition, here's my evidence. Can you write the opinion? As long as you have the evidence, that answer is yes. And a good indicator is if you reach out to, if your evidence sucks, okay. And if you reach out to, and you know your evidence sucks, if you reach out to a Nexus letter provider and they say, hey, I can't establish the Nexus based on this evidence, that is a very clear indicator that they are probably really, really good at what they do, versus the opposite, where if you see a Nexus letter mill company, right? I won't call anyone out here, but if you see a Nexus letter mill try and push Nexus letters and they're looking at the price tag versus your evidence, and they write you a Nexus letter based on evidence that sucks, that's bad, right? That's bad. Dr. Rashna Patel is one of the ones that if you don't have the evidence, she will say, hey, I can't do this for you, right? You have to figure it out. Highly recommend her and her team. They are a team of physicians, right? Not nurse practitioners, not PAs. They are medical doctors. All right, Shane Hess, 100% P&T. Glad I got it done. With all these changes coming, it sounds like the veteran could get screwed over. No, not at all. Okay, I did make a video about this. I know a lot of others have as well. Just to calm some anxieties here, the answer is no, right? You have 38 CFR 3.951A. I'll put that in the chat if anyone wants to look that up. 3.951A. That serves as the protection for veterans when the 38 CFR is updated. That's a very long story short. All right, Q Hut, 2 SMCs, I and K, can I get R? I have to go to this SMC chart, okay? VA's particular, you can't have a ton of SMCs. It depends which one we're talking about here. Let's go to the alphabet. All right, so you have I and K. Is that what that says? I think that's L. So you have SMCK, which is ED, right? Let's look at SMCL. These are really annoying. I don't think so. Don't quote me on that, okay? I don't think so. Looking at this, it doesn't seem like it. Because L through O are going to share the same. Q Hut, send me an email. I'll get you a final answer. I'm going to have to look that up a little more. Appreciate that. All right, John DK Parker was trying to get migraines increased from 30 to 50, but instead they changed it to post-traumatic headaches still at 30%. Yeah, hey, it's the most common one that is denied, right? I absolutely recommend doing an HLR. If you have the evidence, you have to have the evidence. It is an early day. Big B. My family and I got up, went to church, came home, did some stuff for the kids, played some games. My daughter has a Mario Kart. We took it outside, like an actual Mario Kart. It's awesome. Now we're chilling Sunday afternoon, hanging out. All right, I have tinnitus. What service connection can I get without CMP exam? Yeah, that's probably not going to happen, especially with tinnitus. Now, there are some common secondaries for tinnitus, okay? I'm going to link a video for you that just talks about secondaries in general. In the comments of that video, in the pinned comments, there's a whole list that I made of common secondaries for conditions, okay? Absolutely. If you're looking at secondary conditions, you need to watch this, and I'm very serious about that, okay? Secondaries do come in clutch, but there are some nuances that you want to know. I just put that in the bottom of the chat. You'll go and want to check that out. Okay. All right. We have another donation. Thank you very much. Oh, my goodness. I missed a few. Hold on. I don't even know what to say because that one was pretty big. Let's go down. Thank you very much, guys, for the donations. I definitely appreciate that. We got Frank. We got Charles Fist. Thank you very much. Spanky, I got you. Here we go. Daniel Velez, $50, dude. Daniel, thank you very much. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your support. I appreciate that. My wife appreciates that. Okay. Let me look your name up to see, so you can see I'm word searching on the stream. That's fun. Okay. Thank you very much, Daniel. I appreciate that. If you have a question, go in the chat. Let me know. I'd love to answer it. Thank you. Willie D. Thank you for the donation. I appreciate that. DBQs, lower extremity with radiculopathy include I have CMP tomorrow connected for 20 for lower back pain at 91. Total diagnosed with lumbago and sciatica and foot drop. Hey, it's very, very likely 10 and 20% are the most common ratings for radiculopathy. Now, there are how the nerve is rated. It's like neuralgia, neuropathy, right? Paralysis, and radiculopathy. There's different ratings for the nerve, but it's pretty common to see 20% or 10% for each. That's also going to give you a bilateral factor, which could certainly push your 91 to a 95, right? If it's going to be 20 on each, that will be 95 regardless. So congrats if that's the case. But you could go to Hill and Ponton's calculator. That's the only reason I like them, is because they do have the best calculator, and kind of see what that bilateral factor would look like with your claims for that exam. But definitely appreciate the donation. $1.49. Bobby D's, thank you very much. I'll search your name here up in a second. Okay, let's look at Bobby D's. Okay, I don't think that this is doing it. Okay, Trinet. Let's look at Trinet. It's not. All right, Trinet, I'm going back up to the top. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anyone. Can you request CMP results if your claim is still in process? You absolutely can. Okay. I would wait. I believe it's 30 days, might be 28. Just wait 30 days till after your CMP exam. I would call your regional office, talk to your VSO, and then they will be able to pull those for you. Okay, let me go back up to the top here. All right, been out since 1993. Have GERD and neck sprain and medical service record. Only have private medical records from 2000 to present. Is that enough if I get a Nexus? I wouldn't even recommend a Nexus unless you've been denied, right? The reason, Trinet, is because you have the in-service event. Yes, it was from 30 years ago. Okay, it's crazy saying that. But yes, it's from 30 years ago, but you still have the in-service events. I assume you have current diagnosis. You have the continuity from 2000 to now. I would make sure you give the VA access to those records specifically for GERD and your cervical strain, neck. And I would not recommend getting a medical opinion right now. If you wanted to, that's fine. You can. I just wouldn't recommend it unless you've been denied because you have the in-service event. All right, Vince Bass. I suffer from tinnitus and have never filed for it. Can I file for it while my sleep apnea claim is deferred? Currently 90% rated. Can you recommend a place for DBQ next letter? Okay. You had tinnitus, but you never filed for it. Can I file for it when my sleep apnea claim is deferred? That answer is yes. Currently 90%. Okay. I'm not going to recommend a DBQ or a Nexus to you either, right? Tinnitus is easy. I'm going to assume you have some sort of exposure to loud noises through your MOS or through deployments. Make sure to bring that up. I would never, there's not a million years I'm going to recommend someone get a Nexus letter for tinnitus, okay? The only time I've seen tinnitus denied is when the veteran in evidence denies having tinnitus, right? Saying, hey, do you have ringing in your ears? The veteran says no. That's the only time I've seen tinnitus denied. I've seen it a lot, which sucks, okay? But tinnitus is super easy to service connect. I would definitely not recommend getting a next letter for that. If you do want one, there's someone by the name of Dr. Erickson. I'll just put that in the chat. I don't have a partnership with them. I don't get anything for this at all. But this doctor is in Maryland, I believe Baltimore area. Pretty solid, okay? Again, I don't recommend that, but if that's what you're asking, sure, we can set that up. Okay, let me double check these chats that we had because I want to make sure that we answer everyone's question. Okay. Daniel Velez says, Clay, thanks for all your help. I finally got my rating for my back claims and I'm 100% PNT. Never give up and keep on fighting the good fight. Daniel, thank you very much. That's awesome to hear. I'm super stoked about that. I'm excited for you. Congrats. Willie, we got you. Let me look up Bobby. Bobby, I want to make sure I answer your questions. All right, Bobby, got you. You're good. Eric, let me make sure I get you. Eric B. All right. Eric says, with filing a secondary mental health claim due to chronic pain, do lay statements help when noting in your service treatment records? Absolutely, right? Looking at statements, you want to always reference the evidence that you have, whether that's in service, whether that's VA healthcare, private healthcare, or both. It's better if it's both. But to answer your question, Eric, absolutely, yes. And I'm not able to actually pull these up for those that ask questions via Super Chat. I just want to make sure I get them. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for the donations. I appreciate that. We had a few more. All right. Derp. What is that? Derp Turkeys. I love this name. I have a sleep disorder and I'm getting a sleep study done for sleep apnea, which I don't have. Will that study help my previous diagnosis, sleep disorder, AD? I think that's active duty. So you have a sleep disorder. They ordered you a sleep study. I want to know if this is VA healthcare or through a CMP exam, which you know you don't have, okay? Will that study help my previous diagnosis of sleep disorder? Hey, I'm not gonna say it's gonna help it, right? But the VA, I'm gonna assume this is for a CMP exam. This is the duty to assist coming to fruit, right? So you put in for a sleep disorder. I don't know what evidence you're talking about. I don't know if we're talking about insomnia, some sort of restless leg syndrome. Have no idea which sleep disorder you're talking about. but the VA is going to check all avenues. Sleep apnea is one of those, right? And so that test is going to rule that out. That's the assumption there. It's not going to help your diagnosis, and it's not going to harm your diagnosis, right? A diagnosis is a diagnosis. It seems like you have a sleep disorder diagnosis from active duty, which is pretty solid. I wouldn't sweat that at all. And Jose, thank you very much for the donation. All right, Jose has a few chats here. Let's look at Jose's chats. So many questions today. Jose. Okay, I got you, Jose. All right, Clay, I've been trying to get a hold of you. I was diagnosed with, if you're talking about emails, there are 118 unanswered emails in my inbox right now. Okay. I answer them as they come. Okay. So I will get your email, I promise. And that goes for everyone else too. I was diagnosed with 14 new back conditions. I may need Nexus letter for guidance. Please help me. 0311 grunts. 1 number 5, right? I was also in the inventory. Mad respect. Left arm nerve, 20%. What are some secondaries? Please. Cervical radiculopathy. Okay, you have cervical radiculopathy. Some things you might want to look at. Looking at arm nerves. If you're talking about secondaries of nerve conditions, there's not a plethora. Okay. Mental health is a possible one. You might want to save that for your back. But you have nerves. You have your carpal tunnel, and then your cubital nerve, right, going up your elbow and up to your shoulder. That could be a secondary at first thought. Mental health is probably the big ticket item there. It seems like your back is severe. Okay. But I will definitely get to your email. Absolutely. Okay, Adam Schmidt. It took 7 years. I swear that drinking before my CMP for mental health helped me share so much more than I would up to PNTU at 70. Okay, first off, I would never recommend consuming alcohol before an exam, right? But you're saying that by drinking, it would have helped you share so much because of your anxieties, your ability to express your symptoms, right? Possibly. Hey, if you have evidence that your mental health has gotten worse, okay, and you believe that that fits 100%, first off, seek healthcare, right? Start getting that evidence, get as much as you can, and you can always put it in for an increase. Oh, you were too drunk, but you rescheduled. Okay. Everyone's different, but drinking makes me. Oh yeah. Hey, I am. You can see back here, right here, the bottle black label. I enjoy a glass from time to time. Okay. I got you. All right. Hey, if you have the evidence, put in for the increase. Okay. All right. Al Monroe. Oh, thank you very much. Definitely appreciate that. Let me see if Al says anything. How do you spell that? More. I said Monroe like an idiot. It's more. Okay, let me just make sure Moore doesn't have anything to say, and then we can get back to our leg. Okay. Hey, Clay, I have 40 for back, 40 for right knee, 40 for left knee, for a total of 80. What do you suggest from there? All right, man. So you got some musculoskeletal conditions, all right, that are pretty solid. So you have 40 for your back. That's severe. You have 40 for each knee. Those are both severe. at 80%, automatically I'm thinking mental health. Okay. Looking at mental health secondary to your basically chronic pain. That seems likely. Okay. Now you're going to need a diagnosis for that. You're going to have to start building the evidence for that, saying, hey, my back and knees hurt. I can't go play catch with my son. Now, that's a Borne style example, but that would be a symptom that you would tell your healthcare provider on why you feel depressed, on why you're anxious, stuff like that. Nerve damage in your legs. You probably have that if your legs go to sleep, if they tingle, if they're numb, if you have shooting pains, sciatic nerve damage in your to your sciatic nerve. Seems pretty likely. But mental health and the sciatica is definitely some claims that I would certainly explore. All right. Dirt Turkeys, what's up? Thank you again. I definitely appreciate that. How do the combos mental health disorders work? Yeah, so mental health, PTSD, depression, anxiety, general anxiety disorder, major depressive disorder. There's a billion depressive and anxiety disorders, insomnia, basically the entire DSM-5 diagnosis, right? All those are lumped together into one. TBI is off to the side. Most of the times you're going to see TBI share a rating with mental health. Sometimes you're not. It depends on what your TBI symptoms are, like migraines, memory loss, functional motor skills. But yeah, they are roped together. They share the same symptoms. Now we all know that they're proposed changes for mental health. Don't sweat that. Don't let YouTube make you sweat that. Okay, don't even worry about it. We'll talk about it when it gets here. Okay. Thank you very much for the donations. I appreciate that. I'm blown away by the donations, by the way. I don't even know what to say. I feel weird. But I am forever grateful, right? I never thought this channel would be at that spot. Okay. Vince Bass, I got you. Got you. Kevin Powers. Can you be awarded SMCT if you're certificated for TBI? You can, okay? So SMCT, and I just, you know what, Kevin? I'm going to email you right now on someone who has SMCT, right? So they are a little bit outspoken. I'm forewarning you. If you have SMCT, something very serious is happening, okay? It's a lot of money. It's like 11 grand plus VA check, but that is a very serious. It sucks if you have that. Your life probably sucks. Now I'm going to email you, Kevin, right now. Someone who would be able to do that. It's this person. All right, Kevin. If you want to email me, it's TheCivDiv@gmail.com. I will answer you, I promise. Kevin Powers, I got you right here. Kevin, I'm just going to reply to the last email I sent you. That is the person I want you to hit up, right? Talk to them. Ask to talk to them on the phone. Just have a conversation about SMCT. They can help walk you through that. He's pretty solid. He's a good dude. Okay. Jolly Green. Already P&T. I was denied bilateral eye conditions. They said they have my service treatment records, VA prescription, but they don't have the VA diagnostic. I submitted a submittal claim. Yeah, if you have a diagnosis for that, that's pretty easy. Now, you already submitted the claim, so that train's already left. I probably wouldn't have sweated unless you have some very serious, severe symptoms. I probably wouldn't sweat it too much. You are 100% P&T. Now, if that will award you SMCs, whatever that case may be, then sure, go for it, right? Tracy Herring. Did CMP for lower back submental, answered examiner's questions. Okay. Did not do range of motion. I asked him, is he going to do range of motion? He told VA only wanted answers for pain, ETA. I asked, is he sure? He said yes. That does sound weird. Okay. Depending on how that exam or what the decision looks like, I would be prepared to do a HLR. I'm not recommending that just yet. I would certainly like to see the decision letter for that and then your rating. But maybe there's if you're being rated off of incapacitating episodes, that could be a reason, although they still would have done a range of motion test because they will choose which is higher. That's my only thought I can think of. It could have just been a poor CMP exam, right, Tracy? Definitely keep me posted on that. Jolly Green, will you rock the boat? The boat's already been rocked because you already submitted that submittal claim. Oh, if you submit a submittal claim, will you rock the boat? Answer is yes. All right. Now I'm going to assume your evidence for all your disabilities is pretty solid. My opinion, my genuine opinion is just drop it. Okay, just drop it. Unless that disability specifically will grant you an SMC and it's worth it, I would just drop it, right? That's my personal opinion. All right. Tate, what should I do if I know my VA psychiatrist and psychologist isn't putting what I say in my chart? I have been noticing this for my last 2 or 3 appointments. I would just keep complaining, talk to them, right? So the VA, this is the problem with VA healthcare. There's many problems with it, but this is one of them. VA healthcare is not interested in writing evidence for you to submit a VA claim. They don't care, right? VA healthcare is interested in your health, right? So maybe they might prescribe you medication. They might go to different treatments and therapies like cognitive-based, human behavior training, whatever it's called. Cognitive behavior training, I think it's called. They're very healthcare treatment focused. They're not evidence focused, right? And so I wouldn't say that them not doing it is kind of harming your claim because you still have the documented treatments, right? Whatever it is you said is going to lead to a treatment. That treatment, that is evidence for your claim during your CMP exam is when they're going to assess your symptoms per that DBQ, and then the rater will rate that per 30 CFR, right? At least that's the plan. That's what they're supposed to do. Okay, we had a few more donations, guys. Thank you very much. Spanky Spangler, documented bad car accident while in service, diagnosed with DDD in 2010, have current diagnosis and being treated with radiculopathy, also firefighter. Can I file a claim now? Yes, absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. You have a bad car accident, you have the in-service event. It would be better. Okay. The golden ticket would be if you had x-rays taken after that car accident and you show some sort of condition in the back. That would be awesome. Right. Awesome for VA disability purposes. It would suck for your healthcare. But based on this comment alone, the answer is yes, you absolutely can, Spanky. Submit the claim. You have the evidence. Pretty simple. SK Simmons, do you have a consultation fee free to give an option on my case? Would love your input. Yeah, so here's what I do, okay? And if you know this channel, you know I'm hardcore anti-claim consulting companies. All of them, okay? All of them. You can email me for free, right? And I will respond, and emails will always be free. If you want a face-to-face answer you get 2 hours worth of meetings, I'm going to charge $50, okay? $50 for the time. It's going to be exactly what I would say in the emails. I try to make my email as much information incomplete as I possibly can to make that, that free option good. If you don't want to wait on an email, let me know. We can do a one-on-one, and you're just getting the time from there. I would love to do that, SK. Send me an email first though, because there's 9 times out of 10 I could just send you one email and it's everything that you need. Okay. But sure, if you want the option. And Vincent, hi Clay, just got rated for depression at 30%. Was expecting higher. Should I file an increase or wait until these new changes come around? That's a great point because the new changes for mental health, it's perceived that the mental health criteria is a little easier, right? And so that would lead you to believe you should just wait. What I would do personally is start gathering evidence now through your primary care or your referred care about your symptoms. Start documenting your symptoms, share that with your healthcare team. And then you just got rated. And so now you can do a supplemental claim for that 30%, right? Try to stay within that 1 year time frame once you submit that supplemental claim. That's what I would do personally. Now, if you already have the evidence and you just believe the CMP examiner rated you lower, you could do an HLR with an informal conference, talk to a rater on the phone. It's super informal. You're going to have to talk about your evidence and why you believe you were rated low. If that evidence is from the CMP examiner, you can see how that's going to be difficult to come out at 30%. If that evidence is from your healthcare team and you have documented symptoms of suicidal ideations, difficulty maintaining effective relationships, all that jazz, okay, then do a HLR. If you don't, go get it, do a supplemental. But thank you very much. I definitely appreciate that. I appreciate all the donations. It's insane to me. All right. Thank you. Jeff B. Hearing exam at VA, and they sent me out to CC for another opinion. Okay. That civilian doctor wrote up my tinnitus, likely caused by working on the flight line. Filed a claim in November, CMP in December, 10% rating in June. All right. I don't see a question here, Jeff, unless I'm missing something. Yeah, but Jeff, that sounds awesome, right? You have the in-service event of the flight line, so it's not always MOS based. It's your environment as well. But hey, solid 10% rating. Frank, I am currently at 80% and in priority group 1 due to toxic exposure. How hard will it be to get 100% with a heart failure presumptive claim with evidence of 2 heart attacks and a stent? Let me look at PACT Act for heart conditions. That's not one that is as common. PACT Act, blah, 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 blah. PACT Act, conditions. Here we go. Bunch of cancers. Melanoma, lymphoma, kidney, head, gastro, brain. I wanted to look at heart conditions. Okay, not for Gulf War. Since you mentioned Terra, I'm going to assume that's what you're talking about. Listen, for heart conditions, for any condition, if you have a condition that is caused by service, in this case, a toxic exposure, submit the claim, right? Let the VA do VA stuff. I recommend don't worry about the rating that they give you until you actually have it. Let the VA do VA stuff. Your job is to submit that evidence-based claim. If you have a condition, you believe it's connected to toxic exposure, right? I would look through PACT Act, look at that condition, look at what you were exposed to that led to that condition, submit the claim. Let the VA do everything else. As far as the likelihood of P&T, you're at 80%. It depends what kind of 80 you're talking about. Is that a 76? Is that an 84? What is that rating for that heart condition? Right, all of those come into play. Or we're talking about cancers. That's 100%, right? Just depends, man. Okay, that's a hard question. Appreciate that. F0 Buff Nipple, one of my favorite names on here. Thank you for coming back to the stream. Happy Sunday, Clay. Have a blessed day and New Year. Thank you for your service to this country. Help vets. Hey, same to you, F0. I definitely appreciate that. Appreciate everyone's service. It's another new year. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right. Oh, Jeff B. Sometimes it works. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Will, love the content. I love you. Thank you very much. Frank, if filing a secondary claim for GERD, is it better to file secondary PTSD? We answered this one. I appreciate that. Joel's Kink EAD. Kinkied. Why? I probably shouldn't have even tried to pronounce that. Why did the VA tell CMP exam contractor not to schedule my exam at this time? I don't know. I'd like more context before I give an answer. Okay. Maybe they have more evidence that they need to sift through to actually tell the examiner what's needed. So what happens when a CMP exam is generated, right? The VA contacts, they have a whole system. It gets routed, blah, 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 blah. Basically, that message is saying, hey, here's what we need. If the VA doesn't know what they need yet, they're going to hold off on that exam, right? So it seems to me that they're looking at the records, where that's in service treatment records, private military or private medical records, or VA records, and then they'll determine, hey, here's what we actually need to look at. All right, Vince, I suffer from tinnitus, but have never filed for it. We answered that one. The Global Vagabond. I have a service-connected back rating. I received an MRI, and they diagnosed me with radiculopathy. If I submit secondary, will this trigger CMP exam? How should I prep? It absolutely will trigger CMP exam. Radiculopathy, there's no way to prep for it, okay? Now I can tell you your back is going to be it's going to be evaluated, so you can prep for that. It's going to be range of motion, depending on how you're rated, incapacitating episodes or arthritis. The most common is range of motion, as everyone knows. But yeah, man. So how radiculopathy looks like? What that exam's going to look like? You'll be sitting down on the little medical bed thing. Let's just say this is your knee, right? Here's the bed. Your knee's hanging off of it. We're chilling. The VA is going to take, or the CMP examiner is going to take that little triangle rubber hammer and hit your knee, right? Or they're going to use their fingers like that, and they're going to test your reflexes on your knee. That's exactly how that goes, right? You have the diagnosis. It's very clear to see if something is, jamming or hinging on that sciatic nerve. So you have the diagnosis. Now they need to rate severity. That's basically how that CMP exam goes. You did a video on other companies making money on personal statement letters when you say you can get an online ChatGPT, but you are here looking for money yourself. You're right. I'm definitely opinionated when it comes to claims consulting companies. I'm not looking for money, Jules, right? As you can see, you didn't donate, and I would have answered your question. You actually asked a question here, and I answered it for free. That's the free option, right? If you want to donate to the channel, I will answer your question now. If not, no big deal. I will get to it when I get to it. I definitely appreciate the accountability, though, and thank you for that. All right. Joseph Rottenberry had a concussion in service with only one mention in my records. Records no longer exist from civilian clinic. Would U.S. Coast Guard payment record for treatment work and evidence? That is a amazing example of evidence other than medical. Okay, so you can't find those records specifically, which that sucks. That would be a lot better, right? That's a fact. But you have payment records. If you have any friends or co-workers from that time that could make a lay statement saying, hey, this veteran did go see this clinic around this date for this condition, that would be even better. But yeah, that's a sucky situation to be in, Joseph, but you're on the right track of mind. That is exactly what you need to be thinking of. All right. Keelan, right? Because I'm looking for money. That's a stupid joke. Okay. Let's scroll down to Keelan. We'll make sure I get your whole answer. All right. Love your channel and what you do for us veterans. So grateful to have found your channel and have learned a lot from watching. Hey, thank you very much for the donation. Okay, I appreciate it. I'm glad I'm helping you specifically. If you want me to answer a question, definitely let me know, Keelan. I would love to do that. Thank you. I definitely appreciate that. All right, let's scroll all the way back up to Corporal Ohm up here. I don't know if y'all have looked at the entire chat, but there are an absolute insane amount of questions. Okay. Tell them your crazy stories, and they'll be like, yeah, man. Especially if it's a C. So C&P examiners are not, I'm just going to be real here. Okay. I'm not bashing C&P examiners, although a lot of them deserve it. Okay. C&P examiners are generally not veterans themselves. Okay. And they're not like top dog in their field. If they were, they wouldn't be working for a contract company. Okay. Generally, there are definitely some good ones here and there, but the real good ones leave and start becoming a Nexus letter provider, right? FYI. But yeah, imagine, man, you're 26 years old, you're a nurse practitioner, you're doing C&P exams, you have no, exposure to what military life is like. You have a veteran come in, tell you their stories, and you're just like, what in the world is going on, right? But very, very common occurrence. Jack filed PTSD, went to psychiatrist. His letter barely touches PTSD, talks about family, relationships, trust. This is not going to fly. Should I get new psychiatrist? And if I get a new psychiatrist, Jack, I don't see another comment from you unless I skipped it. I'm gonna imply the second half of that. Okay. So I'm gonna assume this is a healthcare appointment. Okay. If it is a healthcare appointment, look, you got documented symptoms about family, relationships, trust. That's fine. Don't sweat the ICD-10 of, hey, I want this diagnosis, this DSM-5 criteria for this diagnosis specifically. When you do submit a claim, the VA is going to determine your diagnosis, not for healthcare purposes, right? They're not going to give you like an ICD code, but they're going to determine the diagnosis for rating purposes, right? And the rater is going to use a diagnostic code for 38 CFR, and that's how we're rated, right? So don't sweat that. What I see here is you have documented symptoms, whether that's PTSD, depression, or anxiety, doesn't matter, right? That's irrelevant for rating purposes. It sounds like you have pretty solid evidence, Jack. I wouldn't sweat it too hard, okay? I certainly wouldn't get a new psychiatrist. The good news is you have a psychiatrist and not a psychologist, right? So it leads me to believe we are talking about PTSD. I think you're good. I think you're good. Hello, Clay. Also on the TBI service connection. Titanium bowling ball. I know here we go. Rate at 0%. They deferred separation of symptoms from PTSD. Yeah, so they deferred that. Wait on it, right? I know waiting sucks. It's a bad answer, right? My advice is just to hang tight a little bit. Wait on that deferment. Because they might rope your TBI in with PTSD. They might not. It just depends. All right, Bobby D's got you. Yep. Okay. A higher level reviewer is making a decision on my hypertension claim. Is that good? It's not bad, right? You've requested an HLR. Generally, I will always recommend doing an informal conference so you can speak to them on the phone yourself and talk about your evidence. That's assuming you have the evidence. It's not a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It just means the VA is doing what they are supposed to be doing. Okay, more donations. I definitely appreciate that. We have we have way more donations. Okay, let me scroll to the bottom, guys. I will get I would get to everyone's. All right, so we had Killian's. Got you. Solid. Okay, Robert Rodriguez. Let me look at Robert Rodriguez. Am I spelling that right? Oh, I guess it doesn't look at two super chats. All right, thank you for the great content, Robbie. Thank you. I definitely appreciate that. Bob M with the donation. I definitely appreciate that. Thank you very much. Hello, Clay. I have a claim waiting to be reviewed by a judge. Okay. That sucks. I know. The wait time sucks. The appeal system, the BVA sucks. There's absolutely zero ways around it. Okay. 7,000 plus veterans in front of me. According to the VA website, I have 4 secondaries that I'd like to submit. Should I wait? No. You can submit those secondaries. Okay. Now, if those secondaries are from that condition we're talking about that's at the board, I would wait. Do the intent to file, get that date set, right? Hold off on that. If you're talking about conditions unrelated to the one at the board, especially secondaries, go for it. If you have the evidence, right? Because we submit evidence-based claims because we are informed and educated veterans. All right, Killian, thank you very much again. I appreciate that. So you have 40% for IVDS, 10% extremities with MH secondary to my lower back, sciatica. Yeah, that's very common, okay? This is just me. This is my personal opinion, okay? It's debatable. I want to start there. When we start looking at mental health conditions secondary to a musculoskeletal condition, right? Like a back, like IVDS. When we're talking about 10 or 20%, I generally don't recommend it, right? Because I'm looking at severity and, hey, does this condition actually cause your depression, right? I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist. Go talk to them, right? But I generally wouldn't recommend it. In your case, we have a 40% rating for a back. That tells me your back is severe. It sucks, right? Your life probably sucks due to your back pain. I'm just going to be real. In that instance, mental health is the first thing that I think about. And so absolutely, mental health secondary to your back, chronic pain is a very solid argument. I wouldn't even recommend a medical opinion or DBQ for that unless you get denied, okay? But what I would recommend is talking to your primary health care. When you go in for appointments for your back or your treatment or injections or physical therapy, whatever that looks like, just saying, hey, doc, I've been feeling real depressed because of XYZ. That XYZ will be linked back to your disabilities, right? Hey, I can't play catch with my son because my back hurts, right? I feel depressed. That's a Barney style example, but that's the concept we want to drive home to your healthcare team, right? Start getting that evidence. You're definitely going to want a diagnosis of mental health before you even submit a claim at all. But go ahead, do an intent to file, begin gathering that evidence, and submit that evidence-based claim. Thank you, Clay. I feel you always try to answer everyone's questions. You are legit. I try, Angela, right? I'm gonna be on here till my daughter wakes up. But once she does, I'm gonna pop smoke. But I definitely try to be genuine, as genuine as I can be. All right, currently being treated now for MH. There we go. So you have the diagnosis, right? I think you have enough to submit that claim without a medical opinion. Okay. If you are denied, send me an email. We'll look at that. But mental health conditions to chronic pain, especially severe ones, like a 40% for IVDS, very, very, very common. Very, very common. Killian, don't feel obligated to donate again. Thank you very much. I definitely appreciate that. Brandon, thank you for your sticker. I appreciate that as well. Let me make sure I get, are you Brown? Okay. So Brandon asked, Can the VA psychologist fill out a DBQ? Yes, they can if they will. Everyone's going to talk about the VA directive, whatever the numbers are, saying the VA healthcare has to do this. And you're right, but they don't. Okay. So take that with the grain of salt. If yours will, especially if they've been your provider for a long time, right? Or an extended period of time, they're more comfortable in doing that versus a one-time visit. Okay. So it depends. Okay, you have another question, Brandon, about I have an in-service. I'm not able to pull up your questions. I definitely apologize for that. I have an in-service event and panic disorder from the VA within the last 7 months. I have been out for 20 years. Should I get a Nexus? Now we're talking some factors here, okay? So you have the in-service event. You have a panic disorder from the VA. You've been out. So in-service event, 20 years have gone by, and now you have a diagnosis for a panic disorder. Should you get a Nexus? I'm going to recommend no, right? Again, back to your last question, if your healthcare team is able to or willing to write a DBQ, that would be awesome. I wouldn't recommend a Nexus with that evidence without a denial first, okay? All right. Okay, thank you very much. We've had more. I had another question, but I don't see it. Bobby D's. Let me do these in order. I got you. All right, Derp Turks. Thank you again. Okay, I definitely appreciate that. So I have Pes Planus coming into the military, annotated on my records. This one, foot conditions. I'm gonna have to make a video on this one because this happens a lot. It's very, very common for veterans to come into service with foot conditions. Flat feet are the most common, as we see here, Pes Planus. Okay. On my records, after 8 years, I've been in medical diagnosis with plantar fasciitis a lot. Will I get 30%? Also, will I be diagnosed with MH at CMP exam? No. You definitely won't be diagnosed with mental health at a plantar fasciitis CMP exam. Okay. Now, if you submitted a claim for mental health, the CMP examiner and the VA will diagnose you for rating purposes, right? That has nothing to do with healthcare. Go seek healthcare. That's important. But the answer is yes. If you have that MH claim in for your plantar fasciitis, you still need the in-service event. Okay. Your in-service event right now falls back on flat feet on your entrance exam. That's not good. Okay. Because now this is an aggravation claim. So now you have to prove aggravation. My service made my condition worse. I don't know what your evidence looks like for that. But yeah, it's not a hard sell. It's not an easy one either, right? It's easy if you have the evidence that show this condition has gotten worse in service. It's hard if you don't have that evidence. So it just depends, man. Just depends. Bobby D, I had another question, but I don't see it. Okay, let me word search Bobby D's up real quick. Audio's good. Can you request CMP exam results? Bobby D's, I don't see any question from you unless you're talking about CMP exam results. You can request CMP exam results while your claim is still in process. Give it 30 days. Okay. Ideally, ideally you have a VSO that's willing to access VBMS for you to get those results. That's not always the case. They're a bit busy. So you can call your regional office, set up an appointment, and through Vera get your CMP exam results fairly fast. Okay. I would still give it 30 days and allow the examiner and the company to kind of file those requests or that CMP exam. Lots of, dude, I'm just really grateful for everyone, right? Donations are not required, as everyone knows that, okay? To the person that wants to talk baloney. I'm all about talking baloney, okay? Trust me, that's what I'm good at. But I just want to say I'm very thankful for everyone that's donated. It's a dream come true to be able to help, that you feel obligated to donate to get the information, right? It's a good feeling. to have. I never know what to say. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. And let's get back to answering some questions. All right. Hey, Clay, how hard is it to get 70% MDD or mental disability? And would that affect me getting TSSCI? No, it would not. Okay. I don't share too much of my personal information, but you can look me up on LinkedIn. I'll leave it at that. But you know what? I'll drop my LinkedIn address in the chat. Okay. Right. If you want to follow me, right? I'm not too active on LinkedIn, but I'm there. To answer your question, answer it 2 questions. Will it affect you to get a TSSCI? The answer is no, right? Even if you're 100%, that answer is no, okay? You can look at my line of work. You can own firearms. You're good, right? Now, if you are absolutely insane, considered by the state, the VA will follow your state's law on what that looks like. I'm talking like red flag laws, right? That's more for wet weapons. If you're talking about a security clearance, that answer is no, not at all, right? The only jobs it could affect are like being an air traffic control coordinator person, being a pilot. Those are like the most 2 common. But any other job that requires TSSCI, working for Department of State or DOD, you're fine, man. You're good. How hard is it to get 70% for mental health? I'm going to link you a video because that's a very, very long answer. And I don't want to do that in chat. But this video I'm going to link, it talks about the 3 major symptoms of 70%, what that looks like. Okay. There are others, and I talk about those too. There are 3 that stand out. Watch that video. Okay. It's a mental health rating at 70%. Definitely watch that. Listen to it. Don't listen to respond. Just take it in. Let it resonate with you. Listen to those symptoms. And that's the best I got for that one. All right, Francis, I want to make sure I answer your question. I see one. Okay. Francis says, Clay, does the VA have access? Let me take this off so we can see. Okay. Clay, does the VA have access to your workers' comp history? Also, should you disclose any previous injuries to the body parts you're claiming? Thank you. This is a hard question. Okay, much harder than what it seems to be up front. Let me actually find it because it's a good question, and I want people to be able to recognize. I'm going to change my battery. Let me find this question first. There's the question. Okay. Changing battery. Battery's been changed. Angle's good. Okay. That's how you know this is a long stream when my battery goes out. I've looked at getting a power source for my camera. You have to order it specifically. I just haven't done it. Okay. They don't sell it in stores. I tried. I went and tried. Okay. Does VA have access to your workers' comp history? So let's talk about IU, right? The VA will look into your work history, and they will reach out to your employers. If your employers don't answer, a broad answer is yes. Okay, it's much more to it than that, but a broad answer is yes. Okay, I would disclose that to them anyways. I'm going to assume you're talking about a mental health claim or an IU claim. If that's the case, I would provide that evidence to them upfront, personally. Now, should you disclose any previous injuries to the body parts you're claiming? Any and all evidence, okay? Now, there is evidence that supports your claim. Then there's competing evidence. We'll do it too. Good evidence, bad evidence, right? So competing evidence, let's hypothetically say you hurt your back in service. 5 years went by, you got out, you hurt your back at your civilian job, and you went to private medical, your private healthcare physician for your back, right? Do you have to disclose that time you went to your private physician for your back? The answer is no, right? Can you? You can, right? I personally wouldn't, because then that's competing evidence. Okay. I'm not saying scan the system. I'm just saying submit evidence that supports your claim. Okay. There's no reason to give the VA an argument as to saying, well, I know you hurt your back in service, but you also hurt it here, and for that reason, we're going to deny your claim. I wouldn't even give them the option for that. That's me personally. And in that instance, Francis, I wouldn't submit a 4142, which gives the VA access to all your private records. I would just upload the relevant medical evidence that supports your claim. That one's a little controversial. I get that. It's up for debate. That would make a good video too. All right. Gregory Miller, PhD. Remember Motrin above the waist, then foot down, powder below. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for support. I definitely appreciate that. That's a good one. Okay. Eli Riddle, man, with the banger. Dude. So this is what I mean when I say I feel weird. Okay. Eli, thank you very much. I appreciate that, brother. I know we've emailed many times. I'm looking forward. I can't remember the last update you gave me, if you hit that goal or not. It doesn't seem like it. Okay. Oh, I won't disclose. Okay. Congrats. I guess halfway congrats to you. Definitely, Eli. Thank you. I appreciate it very much. Thank you. All right, Derps. I'm diagnosed with pes plantar from a military doc. Hey, so you had, yes, got it. I would want to know the severity of that condition, Derp. So you had flat feet when you came into the military on an entrance exam. I want to know when the new diagnosis from that military doc was, and then like, was it pronounced, right? So was it asymptomatic flat feet? Probably. That's what a lot of entrance exams say. Did you have asymptomatic flat feet when you joined? And then years later, now you had pronounced flat feet, right? That is clear medical evidence of aggravation. That's a pretty easy claim. I would definitely submit it, right? They're going to rope all those together, pes planus and plantar fasciitis. Don't sweat that. Just get your symptoms documented. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Okay, let's go back up to the chat. Guys, thank you. Thank you, seriously. Thank you a lot for the donations. I appreciate it. My wife appreciates it. Every second I spend down in the basement is not a second I spend up there watching, whatever dumb show she wants to watch. You guys get it. Quality time, whatever. Let's answer more questions. Hopefully she's not watching that part. Okay. Eric Desper. Once I click on my claim stating I have no further paperwork to add, can CMP examiner still add stuff to my claim? Yeah, so once you have the CMP exam, that's the results of that exam or what the examiners are going to upload. And that's going to be a one upload, right? They're not going to upload that and then a week later upload that and then 3 days later upload that. It's all going to be one, right? Now, sometimes you'll see the DBQ and then the rationale separately. That's normal, okay? Sometimes you'll just see that right on the DBQ and remarks section. But that's what that looks like. I wouldn't sweat that. I'm curious as to why you would ask that in the first place. I wouldn't sweat it, The claim's been submitted. I'm hoping you submitted that claim with evidence, because that's what we do here. We submit evidence-based claims. Don't sweat it. Okay. Charles Fisk, evening Devil Dog. What up, big dog? Rated 100% P&T with a single separate at 100% foreign aorta. That sucks. Sorry to hear. Called me F back to check my schedule. Then I looked. they canceled CMP exam saying I canceled it. Any advice? I messaged BS. Yeah. On that scene, I would just call one. I got some more questions to figure out where you're at in this timeline. I'm just going to give you a few different answers. If it was recent, I would just call the CMP exam company, like whether it's a QTC or VES, just call them and ask them what's up, right? I would also call the VA, let them know let them know the situation, what happened, what that looks like. And then worst case scenario, you're denied for whatever reason, right? You have the ability to do an HLR. It sounds like a pretty clear duty to assist error. But do an HLR informal conference, let them know what happened, right? I would also write a personal statement if you're further along in that process and you can't call the examiner, the exam company. Write a personal statement on what happened, very short, very clear and concise, and submit that to the VA. Got you, Titanium. JC, how long does HLR for challenge of effective date usually take? There's no dates. It's generally faster, okay? But there's no dates. There's not a single person that could answer any date question ever, okay? I don't care if they're a rater for the VA. I don't care if they're the VA secretary himself or, some creep in their basement on YouTube. No one can answer a date question. That's just it. I know that sucks. That's a sucky answer, but that is the answer. All right, Jeff. So I minted your comments. Will you get a diagnosis from civilian doctor, for mental health, VA doctor? Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, Jeff. Now, something to think about. Let's say in private, you have a private psychiatrist or psychologist you see. If you've seen them for 5-6 years and they are your provider, that would be a very strong diagnosis versus a one-time visit with the VA, right? It just depends what that looks like. A diagnosis is a diagnosis, period. But yeah, it just depends. A one-time, so let's talk about the inverse, where you go to the VA, and then you get a one-time diagnosis from private. I would stick with the VA in that instance, right? Whoever your healthcare team is, that matters. Frank, yeah. Chad Herrera, I claim sleep apnea right now. I know about the new changes VA is going to implement this year, but if the VA denies me and if I'll submittal, would be grandfathered in the old rule. This one is difficult. Okay, I'm gonna say no. That's gonna be my answer. I'm gonna reach out to someone that has the real answer, and it's a lot of legal mumbo jumbo. If you look at this code right here, and I'll put it in the chat, 38 CFR 3.951A. When that rating is decided, okay, whatever criteria is happening at that time, that's what's going to be decided on, right? Now, there's going to be a period as to when that decision, when it's final, will actually be made. And here's my real answer. I should have started with this. It doesn't matter. Okay, doesn't matter. Get your diagnosis, get the service connection. Your symptoms will speak for themselves, right? Whether that's rated on the old ways or the new ways, it's going to be properly rated. I know that's a bad answer. I get it. Okay. But yeah, I really would not worry about it too much. Okay. Eric, with filing secondary mental health claim due to chronic pain. Oh, we answered that one. I got you. Willie, got to see you tomorrow for a low extremity. CMP examiner. CMP exam. Left and right will include foot drop because I was just diagnosed notes with that 2 weeks ago. No, because that DBQ, that's a whole other DBQ for the foot. Looking at DBQs for the back to include sciatic nerve damage. That's one DBQ. Then you have one for the foot. 2 separate DBQs. You don't have a claim in for your foot, I'm assuming. So the answer is no. We answered that. Okay. Lamont Tate. What should I do if I know that my VA? We answered that one. I heard poking the bear will take your gun rights away. Kevin, I think you're joking. I think that's a joke from reference of the last stream. You got me there for a second. Yeah, no, that's solid. For context, the last stream we did, someone was really, really harping on these gun rights issues over and over and over again, and the answer was no. Okay. Lori got you. Bill and Casey. I have lower back strain in my records, but I have DDD. Now, what should I claim for? Doesn't matter. Just do lower back, okay? Claim lower back. The VA will do VA stuff. That's what I call it. Let the VA do VA stuff. Doesn't matter what you claim. They're going to evaluate your back, okay? You can claim lumbar strain. You can claim lower back pain. You can claim DDD. Doesn't matter. They're going to look at everything, right? They're going to look at range of motion. They're going to look at incapacitating episodes and arthritis, assuming if you have arthritis in your back. Then of those three, the VA will take the highest rating. It's probably going to be range of motion. That's what it is for most people, okay? But yeah. Odessa, am I in Kentucky? I'm not. I live just south of DC, okay? You can Google the CivDiv LLC in Virginia. You'll see my address. Don't get weird on me. But I live just south of DC. I'm from Kentucky. Okay. I assume you're asking because of this. I was born and raised in Louisville. I'm a big Kentucky fan. Go Cats. Sucks we lost to Clemson in the bowl game, but it's basketball season, baby. All right, Carlos. Have my CMP exam for sleep apnea tomorrow. Heard it was best to not sleep tonight. Yeah. Okay. I'm a little uneasy about this one. When you have a CMP exam, okay, I'm a fan of getting properly rated, right? We're not scamming the system. I'm not going to recommend you take, 6 Benadryls before your sleep test, right? That is bad advice, in my personal opinion. There's no advice for sleep apnea CMP exam. Just go in there. I'm glad you got an in-person sleep study, right? I would recommend in person, not at home. Go in there as normal. Go to sleep. They'll measure your your breathing during your sleep. That's it, right? I'm not implying that you're gaming the game. I just want to generally say to everyone, just get properly rated, your proper symptoms, right? There's really no advice to sleep apnea CMP exams other than do it in person, not at home. Son is home and on the recruiter's assistant. Number 5. Hey, USMC Big B, dude. I am. If my kids ever join the Marine Corps, I will reach back out to you and share in how proud you are of your children. I couldn't imagine. Okay, Thomas Strain. I have HLR in June of 22. And after that, they send me a letter saying that they found something wrong. So they schedule a CMP exam in August of 22. Since then, I've heard you haven't heard anything. Should I do something? Yeah, I would make some calls to the VA. Say, hey, man. Hey, VA. What's holding this claim up? If you're working with a VSO, you can go through them. There's a claim trackers extension to Chrome that you can use. I'm trying to get the person who created that to talk about it. If you know him or if you're watching, please reach out to me. I want to talk to you. But yeah, claim tracker Chrome extension, pretty good. Can you get 10% rating for documented bogus usage? So Kevin, I won't say names. A good friend of mine who was court-martialed for cocaine, he was found innocent, right? Got out. he is service connected for mental health, and a big part of that rating is drug usage. Okay. FYI, food for thought. I don't want to get into it more than that. It's not my business. But yeah. Frank, awesome. Tony G, combat engineer. Local VSO filed for tinnitus and hearing, both denied. Any suggestions? Yeah, I'd like to see the denial letter, the decision letter that has the denial in it. Without that, I can't really suggest anything. Okay, I would really like to see that decision letter. That goes for any denial. Angel, any advice to establish Nexus for guard, soldier, mobilized to OEF, but nothing in SDRs for various conditions, no med shed during weekend drills. Yeah, man. This sucks. This sucks. I know it sucks. I have a video about reservists because no one has it harder than reservists. Okay. I promise you. Let me see where this reserve is. I'm going to link it in there. A reserve is a very large portion of our military. This needs to be shared. Okay, evidence is key. You don't have any evidence from service. That sucks. I'm just going to be real with you. That part sucks. You have evidence from private medical. That's good. I want to know when that is, right? So did you go to private? Did you go to your private provider right after your OEF deployment? That would be good. Did you go to your private provider, 6 years after your OEF deployment? That would be, it wouldn't be as good. Let's just say that. I'm not going to say bad, but it wouldn't be as good. So timeline depends when we talk about private for reserves. Ideally, and I know you don't have it, but for the rest of the crowd, you have LODs, you have complaints while active of whatever it is you're talking about, okay? You don't have that. That sucks. I would still submit the claim personally. I'm going to assume your private records are pretty good. And with that, I would absolutely submit. LG, P&T recently received, hey, look at that. LG has been a longtime fan of the show. My wife texted me. Once my daughter's up, I'll end the stream. Longtime fan of the show. We've been talking about 100% for over a year now, I believe, and LG got it. So congrats, man. Thanks for sticking by. Sleep apnea second to rhinitis, but they decreased my rhinitis since it's only 10% rating didn't change. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, LG. You're 100% P&T. You had to fight for it. I wouldn't even claim SMCs. And because I know your situation, my recommendation is to drop it. Now, you can do whatever it is you want, but that is a good scenario of when don't poke the bear actually makes sense. Most of the times when people say don't poke the bear, it's because they're just spouting what they've heard and they don't really know anything. Food for thought. Yes, they do. Yes, they do, right? Whether that's time, if they submit a claim. So let's say I'm a rater, right? Jeff B, you have 30 claims, 30 individual claims, 30 disabilities that are each their own claim. It comes to my desk. I got 5 days to make a decision. I decide 4 of them, okay? But I was working too slow and I couldn't decide the others, so I just automatically deferred them, right? The ones I deferred, if they didn't rate a deferment and I could have made a decision there, that would be a ding, right? Now that's about as much as I know. I'm sure it's more complex than that, but the answer is yes. I just don't know what that looks like. But yeah, they can get dinged for all kinds of things. Submitting a claim for deferment that didn't need deferment would be one of them. All right, Christopher Martin, is it possible to claim All right, last question here, guys. I'll end the stream. Okay. Is it possible to claim bilateral knee pain and bilateral plantar fasciitis as secondary to shin splints? You can, okay. Absolutely you can, especially with shin splints. I'm not sure on this. I think knees are a little stronger, personally. But you absolutely can. I wouldn't recommend a medical opinion for that either. Now, if you're denied, depending on the reason for denial, that might come in clutch. But then again, you have to think about, okay, well, knees are probably going to be 10%, probably. Okay. Plantar fasciitis, how severe is that? Are those ratings actually going to be worth it? But yes, you absolutely can. All right, guys and gals, veterans, thank you so much for the stream. Thank you to everyone who donated. This was the most donations the channel's ever had. I'm going to go through and unstar the other ones. We had a total of 47 donations. That is insane to me. Okay. I don't even know what to say. Thank you. Thank you very much. I definitely appreciate that. 2024 is going to be big for me personally. I'm jumping with both feet in on YouTube. Okay. So as much content that is good and solid and clear and concise, I'm going to be pushing that out. I'm tired of people rambling on YouTube and saying, things that are half true. I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of claims consulting companies. I'm going to do my best to combat that. I know people talk a lot of smack about me. It doesn't bother me at all, right? I sleep very well at night. So I definitely look forward to more videos. All right. So thank you very much. My email is TheCivDiv@gmail.com. I know if I didn't answer your question, feel free to shoot me an email. I'll do my best to answer it. Okay. CivDiv out. I'll do my little stream thing. Here we go. It's cool.
Whiskey 9 Yankee 7 November Golf, over. Whiskey 9 7 November interrogative Alpha Bravo. Negative Alpha Bravo. And this is 7 November Golf. Roger, request you check your Romeo side. I'll go ahead and check my Tango side. 7 November Golf out. And 8 class 7 November, say again. 7 November, go. I copied a while ago, 1 Charlie transmission that my thing used, November, go, 1 Charlie, go. And 8 5, this is 7 November, Charlie. 8 5 right now. Now 1 Charlie, 7 November, go.
This is 1 Charlie, reference to your last, you're Brandon 158, extra 5 5, 1200 between teams and local. Also request your units take extra backlogs to see if we can try to get Whiskey 9 and 8 for pause with the playground.
And this is 7 November, Roger, stand by.
Got that?
Got it? Alright. And all units, this is 7 November Golf. My unit Alpha, Echo, X-ray Alpha in there.
One Charlie, Alpha Bravo.
Hey, I never took a dip. I forgot to take a dip.
Whiskey 9, 7 November, interrogative Alpha Bravo. Whiskey 9 Yankee, 7 November Golf, over.
This is Whiskey 9 to go.
Whiskey 9, 7 November, interrogative Alpha Bravo. Whiskey 9 Yankee, 7 November Golf, over.
This is Whiskey 9 to go.
Whiskey 9, 7 November, interrogative Alpha Bravo. Negative Alpha Bravo. And this is 7 November Golf. Roger, request you check your Romeo side. I'll go ahead and check my Tango side. 7 November Golf out. November 8 5, 8 class, 7 November 2nd.
Roger, I'll send you in. It's going to be about 30 minutes before I come up on the
7 November, go.
Roger, I copy 1